is a pain in the neck.
I see it as a necessary evil.
When it rings, I have a great deal of apprehension.
I don't like phones. You want to say something to me? Write me a letter. Then it's real. Then I can deal with it.
How do you feel about your telephone? The people you just heard were all real people in real working situations answering that question. But listen again. These people were asked the same question.
The telephone is something like...
You want to say something to me? Write me a letter. Then it's real. Then I can deal with it.
But listen again. These people were asked the same question.
The telephone is something like the veins in my body. It's how the blood of business gets circulated.
I look at it as opportunity. Personal and business-wise, it is very important to me.
The phone is our ally. You know, I never at all have any negative feelings when the phones ring.
We are buddies at work, the telephone and I. It's my good friend.
The difference between the first group of voices and the second group can be stated in 2 words. Those same 2 words are the title of this tape, and they can put the most powerful communication system in the world to work for you. The words are phone power. There is no single activity.
You want to say something to me? Write me a letter. Then it's real. Then I can deal with it.
Phone power is not theoretical. It is a collection of practical techniques and strategies that are being used now. You'll find out how to use these techniques and strategies. Projecting more authority with your voice and words through power tone. How not to play phone tag. How to open doors with the telephone, and how to accomplish more in less time with your phone. To do this, I've divided the tape into 2 major sections. The first deals with the sound of your voice on the telephone and strategies to improve it. The second is about time-saving telephone techniques. But right now, I want to make you a promise. And it's not a promise that I'm making idly just to sell you an idea. I know these techniques work. I use them myself, and I promise you that if you put these techniques to work, they will make the telephone your most profitable business tool. So let's begin.
The way they converse on the phone indicates a lot about where they are, where they approach business, and the meaning.
It's not more than a couple of minutes that I pick up on the other person. Intelligence, at least as I perceive it, their quickness, their interest level, the amount they're looking for attention.
I form an impression of whether or not they've got some sort of hidden agenda, or if they're friendly or not friendly.
Very good impression. Somebody that's weak,
You want to say something to me? Write me a letter. Then it's real. Then I can...
It took Kurt Rambis there about 15 seconds to get that. And that's what's really wrong. I'll tell you what I think. Hesitant, disorganized, acting incompetent, and it sounds like that's what you expect to get what he says. That may sound like a lot of assumptions to make him think of it. Last time you're talking, 15 seconds into the conversation, in fact, there are Number 3, most important of all of the factors pick up the volume, word choice, your rate of speech, your timing, and enunciation. These are all voice variables, and they're all within your control. And if you want to change the image that you're now projecting, you can by learning the techniques of PowerPoint. like duck or through sounds. I'd say this sounds like, what I'm hearing here is. Now, in the course of a conversation, most people will switch among these systems frequently, but one will usually predominate. If you're listening carefully, tune in on the speaker's predominant system. There are some other clues that will help you get on the same channel to start. Then there's speaking rate and volume.
Generally, the phone is around my neck.
I see it as a necessary evil.
When it rings, I have a great deal of apprehension.
I don't like phones. You want to say something to me? Write me a letter. Then it's real. Then I can deal with it.
How do you feel about your telephone? The people you just heard were all real people in real working situations answering that question. But listen again. These people were asked the same question.
The telephone is something like the veins in my body. It's how the blood of business gets circulated.
I look at it as opportunity. Personal and business-wise, it is very important to me.
The phone is our ally. I never at all have any negative feelings when the phone's ringing.
We are buddies about the telephone and I. It's my good friend.
The difference between the first group of voices and the second group can be stated in 2 words. Those same 2 words are the title of this tape, and they can put the most powerful communication system in the world to work for you. The words are phone power.
This is another in a series of sound ideas from Simon & Schuster. Phone Power with George Walker, America's leading expert on effective telecommunication.
There is no single activity that American business people spend more time doing and less time improving than using the telephone. This tape, Phone Power, is about just that. Improving your use of the telephone, making it your ally, unleashing the profit power of the telephone. Phone power is not theoretical. It is a collection of practical techniques and strategies that are being used now, today, by major corporations, government institutions, small businesses, in fact, by people in every walk of working life. On this tape, you'll find out how to use these techniques and strategies. Projecting more authority with your voice and words through power talking. Improving your organization's public image through phone relations. Dealing with irate, even demented callers. How not to play phone tag. How to open doors with the telephone, and how to accomplish more in less time with your phone. To do this, I've divided the tape into 2 major sections. The first deals with the sound of your voice on the telephone and strategies to improve it. The second is about time-saving telephone techniques. But right now, I want to make a little promise. And it's not a promise I'm making. I have to tell you when I leave. I know these techniques. I use them myself, and I've helped and seen others put them to work in virtually every business situation imaginable. And I promise you, if you put these techniques to work, they will make the telephone your most profitable business tool. So let's begin with the most basic and essential ingredient in telephone communications, the sound of your voice.
The individual's personality really comes across very quickly. The manner in which they say hello and the way they converse on the phone indicates a lot about the way they are, the way they approach business, their general demeanor.
It's not more than a couple of minutes that I pick up intelligence, their quickness, their interest level, amount their even.
Listen to this voice. It took Herb Rembert there about 15 seconds to make that statement. In that time, what conclusions did you draw about him? I'll tell you what I can. Herb is hesitant, disorganized, lacking in confidence, and it sounds like he doesn't really expect to get what he's asking for. Now that may sound like a lot of assumptions to make in 15 seconds, but in fact, you're on the phone. Check for yourself. 15 seconds into the conversation, notice the impressions you're forming of the person you're talking to. And it's safe to assume she's doing the same about you. In fact, there are 3 important things you can safely assume about this process. Number 1, we form abundant impressions of others very quickly, in seconds, even though we have only their voices to evaluate. Number 2, our impressions aren't just guesses. They're based on specific, objective criteria. It wasn't just a vague feeling that led me to believe that Herb was indecisive. It was a direct reaction to his manner of speaking. And it wasn't intuition that made me think he was disorganized. It was because he wasn't even sure the name of the person he was calling. Again, definite criteria. Number 3, and the most important of all of the factors that contribute to the impressions we make are changeable. Your volume, your word choice, your rate of speech, your timing and enunciation. These are all voice variables, and they're all within your control. And if you want to change the image that you're now projecting, you can, by learning the techniques of power talking.
I made a few notes here, Bob, and I'd like to give you some feedback on what we talked about.
First, use the other person's name during the conversation. Don't overdo it. Just make it clear that you know who you're talking to.
I'll tell you, this reminds me of the discussion we had about sales meeting last fall. You remember when you made the suggestion that we all talk to customers directly?
Make references to mutual experiences or acquaintances, or to anything else you may have in common.
Bob, the overture report, were you referring to the sales report or the major suggestion in the training?
Ask questions about the other person's viewpoint. This shows that you are listening and that you're genuinely interested in his position.
I share your feelings on this, Bob. I think you've got some really constructive suggestions here. Now, here's what I think we should do to move forward.
Let the other person know that your aims are the same.
I share your...
That you both have common goals, and that this conversation is an opportunity to realize those goals.
I share your feelings.
You can also develop rapport by noticing how the caller expresses his ideas.
I share your feelings on this.
People tend to express their thoughts in 3 main ways. With visual images, using words and phrases like, I see, shed some light, get the picture, and so on. By way of emotions and feelings, with phrases like, gut feeling, it seems to me, or my feelings are this. Or through sounds. I'd say this sounds like, or what I'm hearing here is. Now, in the course of a conversation, most people will switch among these systems frequently, but one will usually predominate. If you're listening carefully, you can tune in on the speaker's predominant system. There are some other clues that will help to get on the same channel, too. If you're talking to Grandpa in Tyler, Texas on a sleepy Sunday afternoon, take her easy, son. There's one important exception to the matter of volume and speaking rate adjustments. This one.
You people are a bunch of idiots! You screwed my order again? What the hell am I gonna do with 700 blue barbecue legs? I want to talk to the president. What you got, Mr. Brown Prince?
Matching this guy's volume won't help matters. Soothe and calm the caller by subtly de-escalating his emotions with your measured volume. We'll go into the matter of irate callers in more detail a little later in this tape.
Oh, yeah? I'm calling about the stuff in the ads, you know, the job positions and all.
Just like Herb did a little while ago.
This caller is branding himself with his speech. Imprecise or poorly chosen words, spoken sloppily or even mispronounced, will invariably make a negative impression that's all but impossible to overcome. So power talking begins with diction. By diction, I mean both word choice and manner of speaking, or enunciation. It's the primary measure by which listeners size us up on the telephone. On the basis of diction, we're quickly judged as to our intelligence, education, upbringing, and even ethnicity. So it's a great opportunity to create impressions. The best way to judge your own diction is to hear yourself. To get a sense of how the world hears you, get a small tape recorder and put it on your desk during the course of a normal workday. If you can, get a voice-activated one so that you can leave the recorder on all the time and you won't have to worry about starting and stopping it. As you listen to these tapes of yourself at work, pay particular attention to how you sound during telephone conversations. You'll probably notice aspects of your pronunciation that you just don't like. But you won't need a speech course to correct these things. All you really need is conscious contact, paying attention to what others say and how they say it, and paying attention to what you say and how you say it. Most addiction problems are simply due to careless habits. Once you're aware of patterns and habits that you don't like, you've taken the first step toward correcting them. The sound of your voice doesn't just come from your mouth and throat. When you talk, your whole body is talking. I'd like you to listen to another phone voice. In fact, the same voice twice.
Well, you seem to have a real problem there, Mr. Whittleson. Why don't you just take a moment and tell me all about it? You seem to have a real problem there, Mr. Whittleson. Why don't you take a moment and tell me all you can about it, and I'll see what I can do.
Well, that's the same voice, giving the same message to the same person, but obviously the meanings were vastly different. I want you to imagine something right now. How do you envision the speaker in each case? Listen again to that first voice.
Well, you seem to have a real problem there, Mr. Whittleson. Why don't you just take a moment and tell me all about it, and I'll see what I can do.
What's your image of the speaker? How's he sitting? What's his posture like? What is his expression likely to be? Chances are you came up with some pretty negative images. Bored, slouched down maybe, sullen expression, feet up on the desk. And if you imagined the office that person was working in, it would probably match the person. Sloppy, disorganized, inefficient. Now with those same questions in mind, listen again to the second voice.
You seem to have a real problem there, Mr. Whittleson. Why don't you take a moment and tell me all you can about it, and I'll see what I can do.
Different image entirely, right? A sincere person, willing to help, backed up by an efficient, well-organized company. You see, your voice is like a window that lets the other person get a glimpse of you. Your tone and expression create an image of how you look and how you feel, and the converse is just as true. How you look and how you feel are largely responsible for how you sound. That's why body talk is so important on the telephone. Your vocal cords, throat, and mouth form your personal instrument, your voice. You can change the sound of this instrument by changing your posture, your expression, the shape of your mouth. When you get a telephone call, the first and most important thing is not what you say, it's what you do. If you're slouched in your chair with your feet up, half awake, you can be sure your voice is going to send that picture of you through the telephone. But if you're ready to listen, sitting up and slightly forward in your chair with an open posture, then two very important things are going to happen when you pick up the phone and begin to speak. First, you're going to send a clear signal to the caller. Your tone of voice will be saying, I want to hear you, and I'm listening. Your thoughts are important to me. I'm open to what you're saying. And second, you're going to send yourself a clear signal. That signal will be saying, I choose to consciously manage my reactions. And that is what puts you in control. One of the best ways to begin consciously managing your reactions is to keep a small mirror by your telephone. Whenever you are about to use the phone, receiving a call or placing it, check yourself. How's your posture? Your expression? Your attitude as reflected in your appearance. Remember, your whole body is talking. Just as your voice variables, your tone, inflection, volume, and diction influence the way others perceive you, your word choice is also critical in shaping your phone image. Here's a demonstration.
I'm not really too sure about that. I guess I'll have to go track this down in another department. I'll try to call you later. I don't have an immediate answer to that question. I'll be glad to verify your payment with accounting, and I'll call you this afternoon. Is 1:30 convenient, or do you prefer 4 o'clock?
Who sounds more like someone you'll respect and want to work with? The two voices were both answering the same question. The first one was hedging and really promised no action at all. The second voice chose words that demonstrated a commitment to the caller's needs and promised definite action. When you choose positive, active words, you accomplish two things. First, people understand what you have to say more readily when you state it positively. And second, even more important, positive, active words and statements form exactly the kind of get things done image that does, in fact, help get things done. Okay, so you can't schedule delivery until Friday. But if you said, I can schedule delivery for this Friday, that's your exact position. The statement is more readily understood and will come across as a person's message to the call. When you say, I'll mollify you now by leading you to think I might. In either case, you're much better off just saying it to me. No, I won't really read the report this evening. But what I will do is scan the table of contents and start thinking about it. I will commit to a complete review by next Wednesday.
Let me be honest with you.
As opposed to what? Have you been lying up till now? You don't sound like you expect that the conversation will take place, and then you act accordingly. To ensure that conversation does take place, you say, I will reach you later in the week, and we'll talk further. Is 2:30 Thursday convenient, or is first thing Friday morning better for you? There are two final and very important points I want to make about this idea of power talking. The first is the importance of being concise. I work with telephone professionals around the country in both public seminars and private consultations. I work with clerks in the U.S. Senate, with customer service reps at used car dealerships, with corporate executives at Fortune 500 companies, and virtually everyone in between. No matter what the position, no matter with whom they're dealing, telephone professionals all share exactly the same dominant concern: saving time. I conduct an ongoing survey of these telephone professionals, people who spend more than 50% of their workdays actually on the phone. They all agree on one point: time waste is the major problem. When asked, what one piece of advice would you give those people who call you at work? Here's how they respond.
Just to clearly state what they want to accomplish.
I think I go along with what I hear most other people saying about the same thing, get to the point.
If they were to start the conversation by telling me what it is they want to talk about, so we can get to it quickly, and if they were to stay focused on what it is they want to talk about, that's the thing I would like to see them do most.
I just want to get right to the point. But a lot of times they don't have it together. They obviously don't have the information I need right there and right then, and I can hear them flipping through papers and I'm sitting on the phone wasting my time.
When you're preparing for a call, prepare your information just as you prepare yourself. Make a few brief notes so you'll have the basics literally at your fingertips. Be prepared to take notes as well. You don't have to sound like a machine, but the more you can boil your message down, the more organized and efficient you'll be. My second closing point concerns the truth. The truth can work so well in business and in life. It's a wonder we don't use it more often. Let's all just stop avoiding it. How many times have you heard these phrases?
She's at a meeting now. Can she call you back?
I think he's away from his desk.
Hold on, I'll see if she's in.
These are vague, and they're worn out, and they're usually not very truthful statements. Using more precise, positive language won't compromise your privacy. It will make your whole organization more believable, and will provide you with much better information about the call. So purge those worn out phrases. Instead of,
She's at a meeting now. Can she call you back?
say,
Mr. Gray, Deborah's in a conference room with several of our managers. She and I will talk soon after the meeting breaks. I'll be glad to help you get connected if you'll tell me a little bit about your call.
instead of,
I think he's away from his desk.
say,
Mr. Rollins will be in the office later this afternoon. I'll be sure that he gets your message as soon as he returns, and if he needs to speak with you, will you be available between 3 and 4 this afternoon?
and instead of,
Hold on, I'll see if she's in.
say,
Rosemarie is committed to a writing project at the moment. She's asked me to interrupt only in emergencies, but I'll be glad to schedule a call back right after lunch.
you can improve your own self-image and achieve your goals with power talking. And you can improve your organization's public image and achieve its goals through conscious contact. You've heard me use that term before on this tape, but now I'd like to go into it in detail. Conscious contact, as applied to your telephone, is a strategy for dealing with the public, and if everyone in your organization uses it, from the president to the switchboard operator, you'll see some very dramatic results. Let's go over the basics. To begin with, answer phones within 2 or 3 rings. If your situation won't permit this now, you need to make some changes.
Increase the switchboard staff, or install Centrex service, or direct lines so you don't overburden the switchboard. Next, focus on the callers. Provide your phone personnel with comfortable, quiet workplaces free from distractions and background noises. Make call handling top priority. Don't expect people to concentrate their energies from